I was coming home from my walk that I love down on the seafront in Bray. And I met this guy. I had felt this person following me around, and I thought, maybe it's not the same person, I don't know. But eventually he caught up with me. He said, I've been watching you. You're supposed to be blind. I'm going to contact the local newspaper. You're no more blind than I am. And I said, excuse me. He said, I've been watching you. You dodged the lamppost. You dodged this. You walked out. I said, but excuse me, what is that? He said, it's a dog. I said, it's a guide dog. He said, no. He said, I'm not having that. You're fooling the people. Now, this may sound very strange. I have 2 artificial eyes. So I said, come here. Okay, give me a hand. Now, put your hand out there. And he put his hand out, and I took my 2 eyes out and put them in his hand. Oh, Jesus Christ, he said. And I just grabbed them, and he ran. That's what I had to do to prove to him that I was blind. One vivid picture that stays with me, sometimes when I get very tired and I'm falling off asleep, I can see my mother wearing a red coat, which I think was the coat she wore when she brought me to hospital. Now, I can remember colours like red, green, blue, black, orange, yellow, white. But if you start talking to me about things like beige and indigo and stuff like that, doesn't mean a thing. I remember seeing, what I think were stars, but I'm not sure. And I can remember seeing the lights in the buses and trams, and I don't remember faces at all. Oh yes, I can remember seeing the sea, because when we were young, my father was an avid fisherman. He used to take us all out to Greystones, and we'd spend the summer out there. And I can remember seeing the waves of the sea and the sand. I would trust my dog more than I would trust a human being to guide me. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing I think of is dog. I want to feed the dog. I want to let him out. The last thing before you go to sleep at night is, I wonder, is he okay? You hear him, he's got his bed down in my room and I can hear him moving. Is he okay? York and I are a pack. There's only 2 of us, but we're a pack. Now, in York's world, I'm the alpha dog. I'm the leader of the pack, right? So he does what I tell him to do, right? Or he should do. You've got to remember all the time that a dog is a dog. That's what he is. That's what he was born as. He's a dog and he has a doggy instinct. He is not a machine that you just press a button and you go into this mode and you go into... It's a dog. And being a dog, some days the dog gets up and says, I don't want to be a guide dog today. I want to mess. I want to go and chase the cats. I want to go and rummage in that dustbin. When the guide dog people were training me down in Cork, I said, you misnamed this dog. Why? I said, you should have called him Shadow, because that's what York is. He's my shadow. He just has to be with me. He wants to be with me. That's the phrase. He just wants to be with me. Sometimes you have to say to him, no, stay, because I want to be with you. I want to be with you. That's all the time. And even when we go to the church, I bring him over to church. He has his own little spot beside the organ. He'd lie down there and he'd just stay there and keep watch till I finished, and then he'd get up and come with me. We bring him to lunch. He goes in under the table where he's trained to go to lunch, and he gets there and he prays to every god that dogs have, that somebody might drop a piece of food by accident so he can get it under the table. Dylan was everybody's dog. He was my dog, but he loved everybody and everybody loved him. He was my last dog. The time came with Dylan that he had to retire. It's not just saying goodbye to a pet dog. You're saying goodbye to somebody or something, to an animal that's been part of your life. So the day came and I had to get on the train to Cork. And I had arranged, Pat had arranged, rather than drag me all the way out to Killorglin, he said, we'll meet you at the Guide Dog Training Centre in Cork and you can give us Dylan then. As soon as he got to the training centre, he knew where he was and he was all excited, because they all do that. They love it. And then, of course, when he saw Pat and Noreen, he went berserk and jumped and howled and chatted. And I had arranged for a taxi to call for me at 3 o'clock to bring me back to the railway station. And I heard the door open and somebody said, "Joe, your taxi's outside." So I got up, I went over to Dylan, I rubbed him on his head and I said, "Now look, you be a good boy. Now you look after, you stay with Pat and Noreen and be good." When I was going out without him at home, I would always say to him, "You be good." So I said, "You be good." And I turned and walked towards the door. And when I got to the door, he howled. He'd never done that before. He howled as if he knew. And of course, I got into the taxi and I was in floods of tears because I knew I wasn't going to see him again. I got back and I'm sure people were looking at me at the train, thought I'd had some problem or other. The tears were coming down. I was trying not to cry. I was so broken up. I came home and I said, "I'm not going to get another guide dog," because I didn't think anyone could replace Dylan. And my family said, "What? Joe, you'd lose your reason if you hadn't got the opportunity to get out and walk along your beloved seafront in Bray. It wouldn't work, Joe." So I have decided, now that I've got this fella, and please God, the next fella, and even the next fella, and I'm going to always have a guide dog. Don't look back. You're not going that way. Look forward. And that's what I do. And one of the first words they teach your dog, and you in your training, is the word forward. And that's the way you look. I can't imagine Joe Bollard without a guide dog.